Welcome to the first episode of Modern Love, Messy Truths, a modern dating anthology, a Nightjar Story Vault production, written by Iona Nightjar. In this episode, we're diving into one of the most vulnerable corners of modern romance, the first swipe after a long breakup.
Picture this. It's Friday night. Fairy lights softly glowing.
A half-finished bottle of wine on the coffee table. Lena, 32, sits on the floor in silk and sweatpants, phone in one hand, existential dread in the other. Her best friend lounges nearby, half cheering, half mocking, as neon dating apps flicker to life on the screen.
This is the moment before the leap.
The one where everything could change, or crash and burn in a story you'll retell with a laugh later. But what happens when that first swipe leads not to sparks, but to something gentler?
Something real?
This is First Swipe, New Possibilities. A Nightjar Story Vault production, written by Iona Nightjar. Scene 1, The First Swipe. Lena had always thought she'd be one of those people who met their person the old-fashioned way, through friends, at work, or maybe in a bookstore. Not by swiping on some stranger who described himself as an extroverted introvert who loves dogs, hikes, and deep conversation.
But here she was, 32 years old, single for the first time in almost a decade,
and trying to remember how to flirt without emojis or existential dread. Lena sat cross-legged on the floor of her apartment, wearing sweatpants and a silky blouse she hadn't worn since 2020. Her best friend, Aria, sprawled on the couch above her, one leg dangling off the side like she paid rent, a bottle of rosé between them, and Spotify humming softly in the background.
Aria, teasing.
You've been single for 9 months, Elle. That's a full-term relationship with yourself. Time to give birth to a new beginning.
Lena, deadpan.
You did not just compare my love life to childbirth. Aria grinned, sipping rosé from a chipped mug that said world's okayest friend.
Aria. Just one date. That's all I'm asking.
Swipe for science. Lena rolled her eyes but tapped the icon.
The app blinked with its neon pink glow.
Her profile picture was cautiously cute, a professional headshot that made her look approachable, but competent. It had taken her 3 days and 2 panic attacks to finalize her bio. You're not applying for a mortgage, Elle.
Just swipe. Be reckless.
Be free, Aria teased, nudging Lena's shoulder with her foot. I already regret this, Lena said flatly.
Lena scrolled.
Photo after photo of men posing with fish, dogs, or suspiciously cropped ex-girlfriends. Every profile read like a tired checklist. Love to laugh.
Sarcastic. Family is everything.
ENFP. It felt less like dating and more like digital window shopping with existential stakes. But then, one caught her eye.
A man named Jared.
33. Tall, bearded, vaguely outdoorsy, but not in a threatening way. His dog, a collie, maybe, sat beside him in the first photo.
In the second, he held a coffee and wore glasses.
Glasses were good. Glasses said I read things. His profile read likes dogs, travel, and open communication.
Why do they always say that?
Is that supposed to cancel out your fear of emotional connection? Lena thought.
Ooh, dog guy. And glasses.
That's a combo. Aria peeked over Lena's phone. What if he's one of those laugh but doesn't tip people?
Lena asked skeptically.
Then we write a Yelp review.
Come on. Swipe. Aria laughed.
Lena's finger hovered.
She hesitated.
Then, with a deep breath,
swiped right.
The screen lit up. It's a match.
Aria, mock gasp. She lives.
She loves.
She matches.
Scene 2.
Wine bar, Saturday evening.
The wine bar was moodily lit, with jazz humming in the background and couples speaking in soft, hopeful tones. Lena sat alone at a corner table, a glass of something red and French in front of her, and her heart pounding like she'd sprinted there instead of walking. She hadn't been on a first date in 8 years.
8. That was 2 presidencies, a pandemic, and 3 career changes ago.
And now, she was trying to remember if you were supposed to shake hands or hug when greeting a stranger you might one day wake up next to. Lena, came a voice. Lena looked up. Jared was taller than she expected but not in a deceptive way. His beard was fuller, his smile softer. And the glasses, thankfully, real. Hey, sorry I'm a few minutes late. Had to walk Max first. He gets real needy on weekends, Jared said, smiling apologetically. They shook hands, both a little awkward. Then they sat, ordered drinks, and began the ancient ritual of small talk between strangers hoping for magic. Scene 3. The date. The conversation started safe. Work, siblings, how the city was both too loud and too lonely. But as the minutes passed, Lena noticed something else.
Jared wasn't just nice. He was listening. He asked questions. He laughed with his whole face. He didn't interrupt.
When she mentioned her obsession with crossword puzzles, he lit up. You're kidding.
I love crosswords.
Do you do the Sunday one?
Jared asked, clearly excited. I do the Friday.
Sunday's too smug, Lena replied playfully. And just like that, she felt something flicker.
Not fireworks. Not lightning.
But warmth. Like the slow-building hum of a song you hadn't heard in years. They shared dessert. Laughed over terrible first dates. Compared Spotify playlists. And then at the end of the night, he walked her to the train like a true gentleman.
Scene 4. The Goodnight.
They stood awkwardly by the subway stairs, the city pulsing around them. I'd like to see you again, Jared said gently.
Yeah.
I'd like that too, Lena said, surprised by how easy it felt.
He didn't kiss her.
Just squeezed her hand and said goodnight. And as she descended the stairs, she realized her heart wasn't pounding from fear anymore.
It was something else.
Hope, maybe.
Possibility.
The subtle thrill of a first step taken after standing still for far too long. Back home, Lena dropped her keys into the bowl by the door and collapsed onto the couch.
She opened her phone.
Notifications blinked, matches she hadn't answered, messages from people she'd never meet. But there, at the top of her chat list, was one name.
Jared.
Had a great time tonight. Hope your crossword treats you kindly tomorrow, the message read.
Lena smiled.
Maybe love didn't come from swiping. Maybe it came from what came after.
Moving forward.
And just like that, Lena took her first step back into the dating world.
Not with fireworks. Not with fanfare.
But with a soft smile, a shared dessert, and a message that made her feel seen. Because online dating isn't really about perfect bias or clever taglines. It's about the moments in between. The ones where you feel heard. Where someone asks about your crossword puzzle habit and genuinely wants to know.
So here's a little food for thought.
Is it the app that creates the connection? Or is it what happens after you swipe that truly matters? Or perhaps the courage to stay curious when you finally log off?
Maybe love isn't found in the swipe. Maybe it's in what happens after.
And in the courage to stay curious. If this story made you smile, or reminded you of your own post-breakup first date, hit like, subscribe, and drop your own first swipe stories in the comments.
I'd love to hear how your dating reboot began.
And remember, your next great connection might just be a swipe and a bold, curious step away. Until next time, keep your heart open, your friends close, and your thumb steady. Join us again soon for more stories like this on A Nightjar Story Vault.